I will come.
Hello everyone, welcome here at the mission. I'm very glad to see that so many people have shown up. And we have about an hour to talk about youth delegates and how to realize more of those programs and what we can learn from practices right now, such as the youth delegate program in the Netherlands. So we can hope we can be of help for all of you and that we can find the barriers that we need to overcome to realize more official youth delegate participation in the UN. So let us start. We are going to start a half an hour late. I will moderate and try to get everyone short. But let's start with a very short round of just your name, your organization, and your country. And that's it. Please no longer sentimental. So let me start with that.
I'm going to already not do what you told me to do.
I was afraid of that.
I'm Elizabeth Nyland. I work in UNGA Dutch and I oversee the youth delegate program. I'm sure where I'm from doesn't really matter.
If you don't know this matters, then
though everybody can pretty much guess. But anyway.
Human Rights and Mountain Studies and also with the major group of children in Serbia.
Hello, I'm Steve Lee, originally from South Korea, based in Canada. I'm representing Foundation for Environmental Stewardship.
João Scarpellini from Change Mob in Brazil, but now moving into the government and I'll be coordinating youth delegates program.
My name is Joshua Placencia. I'm in my first semester of college, but my first semester I'm doing an internship at the KPMG UN desk, and I'm from the Dominican Republic.
My name is Pablo. I'm a youth program associate at the World Federation of United Nations Association. And I'm from Venezuela.
I'm Sherry, and I'm board member responsible for UN affairs and youth delegate program in European Youth Forum, and I'm from the Netherlands, so my issue.
I'm not the youth. I represent the Harvey Life NGO. It's a Catholic order, men and women, also our peers. And we have an ECOSOC status, and we focus on sustainable development. And we have a coordinating team representing the different regions of the world. And we have so many schools all over where our lights are. That encouraging me to start the youth to get involved, especially as major group. So when I heard about I got the email, and I said, run and join this. It's providential.
Great.
Hi, I'm Lisa Russell. I'm a filmmaker. I do a lot of films for various UN NGOs, and I also do a lot of advocacy work to engage creative communities in the development world. So that's.
I'm Denise, and I'm a youth from Guyana.
I'm Connie, and I am a poet artist here in New York, projects in Palestine with the literacy organization called Urban Word NYC.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm from the International Federation of Medical Students Associations, originally from London. I'm UK-based and also from the experience of it. Nunu from the International Young Catholic Students, based in Paris.
Sofia Garcia, SOS Children's Villages, based here in New York, but originally from Spain.
David Kolstad from LSU.
My name is Ties Mouw. I'm the Dutch youth representative and hosting this event.
Okay, and I'm also the youth representative. Ties is going to explain, sorry that we missed all the others, but we're going to continue on because we only have an hour left. So Ties is going to tell us about the national context of how a youth representative program could work nationally. Then we'll move, of course, to the UN, to how the delegate function is, and then Elizabeth will also tell a bit about the UN context. Ties, I will
Okay, well, to start off, being a youth representative, of course, there's clearly two parts. There's the national part and the part here, walking around at the UN. So I will focus at the national part. And also in the... running around, more likely, yes. And also in the national part, there's two very important distinctions to be made. First, you have the content. What does it mean to be a youth delegate or youth representative? That's a better word, actually. Second, how does the organizational structure work at the national level, which are two completely different stories. So let me start by briefly addressing the structure at the national level. In the Netherlands, we have a youth council. We have a transparent and open process to elect youth representatives. However, if you want to set up or send your own youth representatives to the UN, the key issue is not that you have a youth council, but the fact that your selection processes are open, transparent. So the job opening or the solicitation should be available to anybody. All layers of society should hear about it. And then, of course, you need a transparent process during the elections. Now, I'd much rather talk about the content of being a youth representative. So what does it mean? Being a youth representative means, and this is where often confusion arises, means 80% of the time you spend with youths in your country. So in our program, we visit schools, we give lectures to sometimes elementary schools, usually high schools, higher education, universities, events which we're often invited to. But even if we're not invited, we organize our own events. And even our program is quite elaborate now. It's 30 years of development and developed quite rapidly. So we've also gathered a group of around about 20 volunteers around us who now support us, which allows us to also set up several projects, all of which allows us to address youth, but more importantly also receive input from youth. So in your contact with youth, again, there's two issues. One is sending, and very important is receiving. This is the justification of your job as a youth representative. I think that's the key issue. So if there's more specific questions, since we're short on time, we'll save them for later if you have some specific questions about financing or whatsoever. So the other half of the job is, okay, you've gathered your information, your input at home, spoken to the youth, and you fly off to the UN, and that's up to somebody else, I think, to discuss.
Yeah, I think there's much more to explain, but we will have more time for questions because it's more important to focus on what you want to know. So there's a bit of context, but that's to the UN if you want.
So just quickly, it'll be good to know who is a youth delegate for third, or who will be a youth delegate for third committee sitting on your delegation. Anybody here? No? Okay, so great, long meeting. So the role of UNGA, which sits in the Secretariat, is to, part of the focal point on youth, and part of our role is to oversee the UN Youth Delegate Program. For us in the Secretariat, that means overseeing youth delegates who attend the current committee part of the General Assembly, which takes place 2nd week of October, and the Commission for Social Development. But the mandate for youth delegates arises out of resolutions going, I can't remember when the first resolution was, but for years has been a call in each youth resolution, which is negotiated in the current committee, negotiated in the Commission for Social Development, and in other resolutions, to include young people, youth representatives as part of official delegations to intergovernmental meetings, to the General Assembly, and the various commissions. So that's where we get our mandate, where the member states get their mandate to include young people as part of it. Right now, the take-up level for the youth delegate program is pretty low for the third committee and the Commission on Social Development. So out of 193 member states, usually about maybe 25, 27 member states who regularly send youth delegates. Every now and again, we'll get a country that sends one 1 year, usually because some young person has been really active and pushing for it, and then they may not send one again, so it can be a little bit ad hoc. European countries have been particularly good in establishing youth delegate programs, often, as you mentioned, in cooperation with the National Youth Council or some democratic youth structure within that country. But it's important to remember that for the structure of youth delegate programs, there's no prescriptive method that the UN or that member states have given to establishing it. So it could be, and it usually is, that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Ministry of Youth works in collaboration with the National Youth Council, but it could also be that an ambassador says, I want to have this young person as part of my delegation, and that young person is part of their delegation. We try to encourage member states to kind of look at the more transparent and democratic approach to selecting youth delegate. So we have a youth delegate guidebook that we updated a couple of years ago. I'm sure you've all seen it, if not it's online, which lays out the different structures that some member states who've been sending youth delegates for a long time use in selecting their youth delegates, who they work with to do that, the selection procedure, how it's financed, because that can also vary. Sometimes it's the mission or the delegation that pays for the youth delegate fully, other times it's half of the mission, half of the National Youth Council, other times it's half of the mission, half of the youth delegate themselves having to raise their own funds. So again, the structure really, really varies from country to country. And oftentimes when member states approach us looking for advice on how to set up the youth delegate program, one of their main concerns is financing, and how they're going to finance the stay of the youth delegate in New York for a week, anywhere between 1 and 2 weeks with their committee or the commission. But youth delegates are included in, as you guys know, in other commissions, the then Commission for Sustainable Development, Commission on the Status of Women. So it is possible for youth delegates to be included in these things, but for DESA, we oversee for our mandate, we oversee third committee and the Commission for Sustainable Development. So again, we will be with youth delegates attending any of the commissions. So that's really, really the kind of an overview of how it's structured, how it's set up. In terms of what we do during third committee and the commission, again, because it's a member state-driven process, our function as the focal point of youth within DESA is to service the member state, so we can't tell the member state obviously what to do, we just have to be there to serve their needs. So in terms of the youth delegates, because youth delegates are official delegates of their delegation, we give them advice on, this is how a resolution is structured, this is, these are how the negotiations will go, this is what will happen with here, there, and whatever, but we can't say to them, hey, you really need to push for this to get to a resolution. I mean, maybe officially, never.
We're on record.
Cut that. Change. I'm being. So that's kind of our role. It's very loose. It's very, yes, it's getting hot here. It's very loose in terms of how we can guide the delegates. We're there to really assist them with any questions that they have in navigating the complex maze that is third committee and commission. So we hold a briefing when during the first week of the third committee, and Pax Romana and European Forum have started a more kind of advanced briefing, I would say, for youth delegates and youth representatives, because our briefing is just for official youth delegates and part of delegations. And so actually their briefing has been, I've learned so much from your briefing. So we do that. We also set up a photograph with the Secretary General every year as well, if you can. Although this year it's the Deputy Secretary General, unfortunately, because the Secretary General is good. So that we kind of, do like more activities like this, but again, our role is quite loose because it's ultimately up to each delegation to tell their youth delegate what their role is. So, example, whether or not they give a statement to the third committee, and whether or not they will be allowed the capacity to be able to negotiate resolutions during formal negotiations of the youth resolution. So, the role of the youth delegate really comes from whatever your delegation says it is and how you work with your delegation, not from the Secretariat. Even in terms of things like getting on a speaker's list or sorting out visas, we can't interfere with that at all. It's really up to the delegation. So our role is pretty loose in terms of trying to bring all these delegates together, so make sure they know each other, though you guys are much more effective at that than we are. So yeah, it's kind of very brief.
Thanks. I'm going to add a little bit of the international youth perspective, because Steve just explained how as a youth representative you get your input, you know what the young people of your country kind of want on the topics you're representing them. So you go to the UN, and then it's where you come at the huge building of the GA, and well, what are you going to do? Well, we're actually the representative for sustainable development, so we work with the major groups. We have the major group system, so the MGCY for children and youth. That's where you meet all the international youth people. So if you're in the third committee, you will just have the group of the youth delegates. We So, for example, this week we worked together with the MGCY to get a position paper of the 3 points we wanted to push for at the UN this week. So, you're not just going to put your own point, you can probably do that at your mission, also discuss with the young people, try to get at the national level, the youth points forward, but also lobby together with the other young people and organize yourself as you. But first, of course, you need to be there as a young person. And I only wanted to add something to our structure, which is, I think, crucial in how effective it is. We're with 2, and mostly with 1, of course, it's also fine. And also in the 3rd committee, we only have 1 Dutch youth representative. But we have the junior-senior system, and that's actually something that's very, very valuable. I'm right now the senior, this is my junior, and I was last year the junior, and I could learn everything from my senior because she had already a year of experience at those huge UN conferences, which were like overwhelming, and she knew what to do, knew some people already. So it's very helpful to have at least some kind of mentor person who knows the inside, that you don't come there and need first a week to figure out how everything works, because then you're already going back home maybe, and you're less effective. So this is one thing, if you're going to push for a program, include or try to include something that has that mentorship, because, or that junior senior aspect, because it's going to be very effective. And for example, this week for TC it was much easier to just get on maybe even the first afternoon, like, okay, this is how it works, we're just going to do it together, and then you can do it together. It's also sometimes nicer than then you're on your own. So I just wanted to add that, but now let's make it open to the floor. Yeah.
But that's when they have the last 2
Yeah.
representatives to every meeting. Is it to every meeting or that?
Depends, but mostly, to the big meetings you're going with 2. So, yeah. So finance, maybe we could just...
Finance is always a big problem. In our case, our government is willing to pay a little bit of money to our program, which has 8 youth representatives, so the money they give us for the 8 of us is very limited. Well, he disagrees, but let's just say it's not enough for us to be here now, and they didn't pay for that either. So in our case, we are on sustainable development. There are quite some almost philanthropists, you could say, who love to support sustainable efforts. So in our case, we have a private sponsor. It's a green sustainable bank. So as far as the money is concerned, I'd say be very creative, because there is money everywhere, but just not always at the place where you expect to find it. For instance, at the bank, well, of course, you want to find your money there, but for them to give you money is quite unusual. Usually they ask for interest rates. So the only advice I could give there is to be very creative and look beyond the usual suspects. But maybe other people would like to respond to that, or the Mitchell story. So that's it. Yeah, you want to...
No, I just want to briefly touch on what Elizabeth has said. And working together with you, and that's the focal point on bringing the youth delegates together. In the European Youth Forum, we're trying to bring, because we are the platform of youth councils and youth organizations in Europe at least, to bring all the youth delegates in Europe together before the events, mostly around July or June, when the new delegates are elected. But this is, for us, it's very limited, because it's only the European youth delegates who are coming, and the youth delegate can mean for the 3rd committee, can mean for the CSD or Sustainable Development, Climate, and even UNESCO, but also youth organizations who are working on Pax Romana, WEG, WOSM, that kind of youth organization structure. And I'm very happy that Pax Romana for the previous years has been organizing advocacy trainings, which is a follow-up of the training that UN Focal Point is offering to the official youth delegates. And this year, we're trying to make it even bigger, and I will give the word for Chris later on to talk about that one. But I think it's very important that if countries establish a youth delegate program, that in the beginning they try to work or try to touch upon other youth delegates, these points, and talk together and try to find common understanding and, well, work together from the very beginning, because now I have the feeling that sometimes youth delegates find each other at the end of the session instead of at the beginning, and then actually it creates more frustration and
Yeah, I just, before when you were speaking earlier, I had given you a look.
Yes.
Not because you said anything wrong, but because in terms of being alone at the third committee, it's not necessarily true, because there are a lot of NGOs that are active in the third committee. So for example, ICMEO organizations, so I don't know if anybody's, I'm sure most of you, or some of you have heard of ICMEO, it's the International Coordination of Youth Organizations, which is a network of 30 of some of the oldest youth-led organizations in the world. Our ICMEO movements, some are based in New York, like Katrumana's advocacy team is permanent, and then we have the European Youth Forum who comes for almost every major commission session. And then we have some others, like the World Alliance of YMCA's has representation here. ISEC.
Here.
So ISEC is one of our partners as well, and they have a New York representation. And then we're also expanding that to other organizations, like the World Association for the Deaf. Their youth movement is a member of ICMEO. So we have a lot of different varieties of organizations. We have faith-based ones, we have regional platforms, we have professional ones, as well as youth with disabilities. So we're here permanently, for the most part, working with youth delegates on many different ways. The third committee, the best way, or the primary way we work with youth delegates, and to kind of jump off what Elizabeth said, is to help you guys know how to work with these resolutions. So although they may not be able to tell you what to put in, we work with you to understand how you can put it in. So that's really the goal, especially now when we have a youth resolution coming up. We have the World Conference on Youth in Sri Lanka in 2014. We have this talk about a permanent forum on youth. There's so much happening now. And this resolution could be a seminal moment, probably that. It could be a pivotal moment in how youth policy develops in the next 10 years. So.
Cool, thanks. Yeah.
Yes, like I said, I represent the World Federation of United Nations Associations, and our mission is to support the UN. And in this sense, we also talk about the Youth Delegate Program, but in a different way. Not like UNGA does, and not like Acromana, but mainly to try to help the youth in the countries to establish the program. And we have the National Youth Delegate Program Handbook that you can go to our webpage. I mean, it's small, but you can see it here. And this handbook was created to give youth the tools to effectively lobby their governments into putting this into place, this youth delegate program into place. And we receive many questions also from people trying to ask for technical advice. We try to help them to ask for capacities and abilities, but sometimes we don't have enough hands to do it. So I think it would be important to establish having, the European youth delegates, which are very established, to help and maybe create this network to help the other countries in establishing the youth delegate program.
What would you need? What kind of help?
To help them in giving the advice, giving them mentoring, like you have the junior and senior system. That would be very important in order to help these people. When we receive questions, maybe we can direct them to you so you can try to help and we can all talk together. I know there are institutions in place in every country that have to help with this, and I'm sure, and I can put you in contact with the UNA associations, United Nations associations in the countries, that can be a structure to help push this. Actually, the United Nations Association of Bulgaria chooses the youth delegate. United Nations Association of Australia chooses the youth delegate. It's not like this in every country, but it could be. So the association can be there to help. So you can always contact me, and I can put you in contact with the person there to establish the program. But I do think that it's very important to have a kind of network that can help others, that can be kind of like a mentoring process. And I was very interested in coming here because I think the Dutch system is very, very good. I'm sure that there are some things that you want to strengthen and to develop, but we have to take into account there are countries that don't have a youth delegate program. So these are the people that we want to bring. And I think that counting with your experience and your knowledge, this could be done. So I think we should work on that.
I have a question about more in terms of, you said 80% of your work is back home, and I'm more from a perspective of somebody trying to set up that in a country. What sort of support you have in country? Like, for instance, so is the National Youth Council who hosts the elections, who do the actual like preparation and logistics? Is all you do yourself? It is a team? Well, how it works for you guys?
In our specific case, there's one project employee, and we are the project. So she does a lot of the logistics and coordinating
For all the 8.
for the 8 of us. But for instance, the logistics of setting up guest lectures, that's something we do ourselves. So I usually send out an email to 50 or 100 schools, and about 1/5 of them reply saying, hey, this is awesome. Just have a format letter. And then obviously, like I said before, the bigger projects, we have projects running on youth unemployment, etc. They come from this working group which formed around us of these volunteers, and there we have a coordinator who coordinates those 20 people, and with that the somewhat bigger projects. So in our case, it's actually quite a divided effort for all the specific parts in our program and in our work. Does that address your question?
But funded there, so there's one paid person, and then also when you guys start, you get like this person also trains you, or it's something you guys learn in the goal, or
Learn well.
Our ambition is to have training, so communication, etc., but you learn by experiencing it, and so far I haven't received basically no training. So that is the ideal, of course.
This is where the mentoring comes in, right?
Exactly. So I learned so much from just
So
Colleen in this
at
case.
the beginning, we go to meetings together, and I give a lecture, we give it together, and then after a few weeks, months, he gives the lecture, and I do it. So, or we can do both. I see some questions here.
Is the coordinator paid as well? Or?
Well,
To the working group, she's also a volunteer, and that's
What is the incentives of like joining the work group? Are these people who want to be delegates or something like that? Or they just
they want to do
volunteer?
something awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
they want to do projects, they want to work on sustainability or
Yeah.
on UN issues, and a good thing is that you
And how
work
are they
closely.
gathered? How are they gathered, or is it like the organization?
Well, we get together every 3 weeks, and then we have a meeting with the whole group, and then we have a lot of project groups. And the good thing is that you work so closely with the youth delegates, because they get all the insights about. We do a lot of projects also with government, advising them on climate change, for example, and then they can come to the minister to give an advice. And it's like we can give our students as youth representatives. So that's also what motivates them. Like, oh, I want to work with those, on those topics, and here is a good place to do it. So you can also be much more than only the youth rep. You can also give others opportunities.
maybe can I elaborate a little bit on it? Besides the fact that these people have passion for the topics, they have a lot of autonomy to say, okay, this is the topic that I want to do a project on. People are saying, okay, just do it, see what you can do. And that's a great experience, even if you fail, just say, okay, I'm going to do this project, I'm going to run a project on, for instance, youth employment. Okay, go and do it. And if you're done and your project has run for 2 years, there's so much experience and so much learning opportunities that have been there that it actually pays for itself. Not in money, but obviously just that's why volunteering in this case is very advantageous. This is the age to make mistakes, to learn from them, and then take your experiences with you the rest of your life.
And are they from all different organizations within the National Council? Or?
Any young people who want to do something.
Everybody.
I have many questions. How to summarize it, but so how long is your mandate? And if in every country is the same, 2 years?
2 years, and there's 1 year overlap.
Yeah, so
you
that's
work
why the
on-
mentor works like that. And you say you are 8 and you work by topics, and this is so you choose your own topic, or they give you a topic?
No,
This is
that's really
decided
already
by-
pre-decided. There's 2 working on sustainable development, 2 go to the third committee, 2 work on UNESCO in our case, and 2
refer to a youth organization, or do you need to have certain experience? And the question comes from the perspective, as I said, I work for SOS Children's Villages, and we have a group internationally in all our programs in 130 countries. We always have groups of young people that are living alternative care, that are interested in every different topic, right? But in political affairs and international affairs and so on, but without, belonging to an organization, working specifically on youth participation. And we are now working on youth participation and how to engage the voices of this specific group of people. So how can these people apply by themselves, or do you need to do it through an organization? How would this work?
In our case, it's open to everyone, like I said, so I was never involved in any organization. I just saw the job opening. I sent him a letter, and that put me through the whole process. But I know in Germany, our organization, the Youth Council, has 35 youth-led organizations members. And in Germany, for instance, you have to be on the board of one of the members of the Youth Council in order to be able to participate and apply for the job. Personally, I am very much in favor of the Dutch system, which is much more open to everybody, because the German system means you have to be in an organization for years, then get into the board, and then only be able to apply. But so that's arranged in different countries in different ways. Yeah.
Is there a website, last question, sorry for taking so long, but is there a website where there is, maybe DESA has a website where there is what countries have delegates, how the systems are? Because it would be very interesting to have an overview of.
We have the youth delegate guidebook, which doesn't go through every country that sends youth delegates, but it does go through some countries that have been pretty established in sending youth delegates regularly, and it details how they're structured, other fundings, like how the youth delegates are selected, things like that. So we can, I don't have any with me, but there's a link to it online that I can circulate to all of them. But it goes through, again, it's not all of them, and it changes every year. And like Brazil will have one next year. They're not in the book. But it's, it gives some examples of how you can be structured. But yeah, like that, a lot of them do with the youth council of that country. I think it's in Norway, where one has to be they have two youth delegates, and one has to be from a political youth organization, and the other one has to be from a non-political youth organization. So it really varies.
Thank you.
I just want to add something, because, like you mentioned, I was part of the Dutch Youth Delegate system, just not for UN affairs. And the Dutch Youth Council, at least in what I know in all of the world, is a bit of an exception, because it works on non-organized youth, as we call them. So none of members, none of young people who are already in politics or whatever, just normal young people who want to be involved in some kind of volunteering structure. And that is an exception, but we shouldn't focus that much on the youth council, because it's more about the youth delegate program. And you don't, like Ties mentioned, you don't need a youth council to establish youth delegate program. You just need to have an open election, a transparent election, or some kind of structure.
And who is voting? All the members?
It differs per youth delegates. In the Dutch, the committees always do an election, a public election.
More than 100 youth want to vote.
So and that also makes it very clear that you do not need the youth council. You can just host an event, have 1,000 people come in and vote on somebody who has had a campaign before. So and then you see that the whole council is redundant. There's a huge campaign not for us, but for our colleagues. They are selected through an open procedure, and they have a huge media campaign and another campaign.
You are not open.
We were open, but the members of the youth council.
Which are the 35 organizations?
Yes, exactly. So in our case, it seems like you could be council, but actually, if you look at our colleagues who are just elected in an open public event, you see that the whole structure of the youth council. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, but yeah.
I guess just a couple questions. So I walked in a little bit late, but as I understand this meeting, you've established a wonderful, by the way, I think it's fantastic what you're all doing, a fantastic Dutch delegation, right, that functions in the form of like a youth council of some sort. And that can be used as a model for other countries to sort of take and sort of use what you've established. I kind of understand that, right? And then what is your platform in terms of conferences? Do you guys like present at a specific conference, or are you kind of more in the purview of like the youth forum next year? I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I work with International Youth Council, but we have a couple, Anne-Marie and I help out with this, but we're based here in New York. We bring about 1,300 youth delegates to UN twice a year, and then I might help with the Sri Lanka mission on the Global Youth Forum next year. So, anyways, I'm just thinking about in terms of like, instead of reinventing the wheel, it'd be fantastic to partner. We actually work with mentorship type organizations, and an organization called Resolution, and they've been sought out by MIT to speak, and they do a ton of work, but their mentorship program is just impeccable. So I'm not saying like, oh, look at us or anything like that, but I think if there'd be a way to collaborate, I love the work that you guys are doing, but for sure, mentorships is what is kind of their holy ground. They also give out grants. But do you guys currently have established conferences that you sort of, or is it kind of assembled around the GA, or?
Well, I will.
Sorry, that was a lot.
No, it's okay. I'll just take it in pieces, and if I miss any parts of your question, just let me know. Our topic is sustainable development, like we mentioned. So for us, the platform which we used to address was always the Commission on Sustainable Development, which got terminated last week. But for now, the youth voice within the sustainable discussions and debates is carried on through the HLBF. So that means for us too, specifically, we will be visiting the HLBF probably in the future. And we have also the climate negotiations in our mandate, which is often also separated. For instance, in Belgium, they have separate people for sustainability and climate. So our platform is also the UNFCCC, the COPs, conference parties. And that's at the international level, so if you mean something else with your question, please.
Oh, sure. I mean, I guess it is circled around sort of the GA, right?
Yes, so the resolutions that call for young people to be included in member state delegations reference intergovernmental meetings. So the General Assembly's committees, any commissions that the General Assembly convenes throughout the year. So, but it's specifically intergovernmental meetings that they speak about when they talk about youth participation in delegations. So, but that's not to say that a delegation can't send their delegates to other meetings, but just in terms of what the UN receives as an official youth delegate, it's a member of who sits in that delegation and attends intergovernmental meetings, which may have a resolution involved in negotiation.
And the general youth representative program is under the third committee, so that or commission.
Yeah.
So that is under the GA. That's they're the most people. So that's.
We have also people going to UNESCO. That's also intergovernmental.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends on the forum, but anything that is sending an official delegation, where there would be, I think, saying this delegates proper, as in your normal set of big delegates, and then to include a young person as part of that delegation. So with and actually it does say resolution, it doesn't say youth delegates. So for something like the Sri Lankan conference, I mean, if member states are sending a delegation as part of their member state and they wanted to include a young person as part of that, then that would be an official youth delegate because they're official part of the delegation. You have the D badges and things like that. But then, member states can also send a young person to a conference, but they're not part of their delegation. They're not representing the voice of the government per se. They're just sending a young person to attend the thing, which is different to being part of a delegation.
I have two questions actually. One is, so there are 8 youth delegates, and I want you to understand like what are the relations between you guys, and like if you collaborate with the other delegates working different themes, and what level of, are you guys a team, or are you really just happen to be youth delegates together? And in terms of funding, like just to have an idea of how much it all costs and how much you guys are actually bringing to the table.
Okay, I can answer the first, and here we will do the funding. Well, we have monthly youth delegate meetings, so all the 8 come together and we exchange our experiences because of course we do the same thing, just on a different topic. So you learn a lot also from your colleagues. But we, sometimes, for example, Expo 2015. We're the most active in that. But also UNESCO is now joining a lot of meetings in education, for example, and UNGA, like the third committee one, is also, of course, in that topic involved. So there are sometimes cross-cutting issues that we all do something with, but we meet every month to exchange our what we did, and also to keep each other kind of accountable. Like, did you do your thing well enough? It's good to know what others do. So, and you for a second.
For the very boring part of funding, the Dutch government on youth affairs, or the Ministry of Youth Affairs, it's just part of the Ministry of Health and Sports, pays or gives the Youth Council a total budget of around 400,000, but 80,000 in the core budget is meant for the youth delegate program, and a great amount of that budget is spent on the project officer, who is just a full-time employee. The youth delegates themselves and the working groups don't get any money, but they aren't paid employees, but they do get their travel fee reimbursed, their train tickets to travel to schools, their meals, etc. So that costs a lot of as well. And for example, when they have a mission, they get a small fee per day, but it's also normally paid by the government, and the government should actually pay for their trips and for their...
Out of the budget of the...
No, this is external. They
Careful, we have the private one because it wasn't...
80,000 isn't enough to establish such a broad youth delegate program and keeping it running for years and years.
Second.
Yeah.
Was that good?
I have two questions. Like the other day I was talking to both of you. What are your limitations, like being a youth delegate, because you also represent the government at the panel, so how much limitation do you have? Like, you really can't go up and speak what you really feel like. You have to really consult to your government and take permission. That is my first question. And my second question is, when you get back to your country, other than being an advisor to the government, what else do you do? Like PS, for example, will be holding this post for 1 year? 1 or 2 years. You'll be a delegate for 2 years, right? So other than being an advisor to the government, will you, when you take up a project, do you have a meeting with all the youth organizations in your country and disseminate the information, or other than the social media and being an advisor to the government, what else do you do after you get back to the country?
Okay, yeah, I think we forgot that except for input, so during what the one we also had the output part. So always when we come back from the conference, we again go to schools and tell them what we achieved for them, because we're there not for ourselves, but we're for the young people in the Netherlands. So we go again around the country to tell what we did, for example, and also, for example, the last climate conference, we met with our Minister of Environment, and she wanted us to come up with an advice. So it's not that there are structures that we do a lot more back in the country, but you also have the meetings where you try to get those opportunities. So we did that the past few months, giving her an advice with all the young people also again involved. So mostly it's follow up from conferences, but it's always you go to a conference, you get the opinion of the young people, you go back, you share with them what you did and how it was, and what they can learn from that maybe as well. On your other question, what was it again?
Limitations.
Limitations, well, we're not government, we're young people. So the young people say whatever they want, they don't say what the government wants. So we need to find, of course, a balance, because a few months ago I spoke of maybe the Netherlands in a meeting, and then you need to coordinate it. You don't say the complete opposite of the EU, for example. Of course, it would be a bit of a problem. So that's what you need to think about, is really bring in the youth perspective in the mission and in the delegation, because you're the youth representative, you're not the government representative. You do have the D badge, but you have a very special role. You're also the kind of the advisor, you don't have the really official government status. So you need to find a way always, but you need to have some space to get the youth voice there, and not just be a person who's also representing the government and just some extra help in delegation. So for us there is a lot of space.
No, that is for the Dutch delegation.
Yeah,
but I know there are other delegations who have a lot of their speeches and everything is moderated. They really can't say what they want. So there's a lot of the political thing comes into the whole thing. So what do you have to say about that?
I think that's also, yeah, that's a very difficult one, and I think that's something serious also. But of course, you have international youth delegates, so that's something also to coordinate in between. What can you say? Maybe let someone else say, but actually it should be that everyone can say whatever they want. But you can maybe figure out better.
It's not always about what you say; it's about how you advocate. So a lot of times when you're doing advocacy, you don't really say anything out loud. So if you're going to be what you say in the plenary meeting of the third committee is just what you say, whether it's moderated or not by your delegate. But that's not really what matters. A lot of times young people, and I understand, they come and they want to be on UN TV, they want to speak, and I respect that because all of us want to do that. But then the real work is what happens after you give that speech, right? What happens after you give that speech is you're going to work with the other youth delegates behind the scenes to push for a resolution that's strong. So it's not always, you're right. Who is overseeing these youth delegates? What really matters is their ability to work with other young people to push policies that matter to us. So really the speech in some sense, speaking openly is only one aspect of the youth delegates.
And of course, so the most important is that you get in and that they give you the space to operate within the UN. And then you can go for the strategy and you realize even more behind the scenes as you probably explained that in your speech, which everyone will read out. So
You don't have any policy document to follow, do you? There's nothing decided. You just use your common sense to say what you've heard of people, when the people in the past.
Well,
I'm not quite sure what you mean. It's
Is there any policy document that says like this is the what you're allowed to say that has been agreed by the members, or can you just like interpret what you've heard in the classes and so on as you want?
the layer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for instance, now I went around the Netherlands, and let's say I spoke to 1,000 young people, and I interpreted what they said to me. So usually I have to write it down so I can actually do something with it. This year I made some statistics out of it. And it was very clear that, for instance, one of the points we pushed for last week was planetary boundaries. And from the Dutch perspective, the top 3 of priorities were all about issues relating to planetary boundaries. So I interpreted it in that way, translated it, taken into consideration all the youths from around the world to work together to one point. And it is actually very well possible that you are the only country who has been instructed by their youth to go on women's rights, whereas, I'm just saying something, whereas all the other international youth have a completely different opinion. And then you might have to sacrifice or contribute to being making points that were not even addressed in your country. It is a possibility.
yeah, because you also need to be a bit creative on how are you going to translate it to the UN, because you get a lot of different youth voices, and it was good to make, for example, some statistics, so they always take something out of the classes that they write, or they make a statement, or that they say something, that we can get something out of that. But of course you need to see what is possible in the UN, what kind of things are we lobbying for, where is some space to put in new points. So it's really up to the delegate then, and what are you going to and are you able to do it. So I saw there too. Yeah. You.
Yeah. So there seems to be the national delegates and international youth delegates. Am I right? There are 2 different.
No,
It's the same person.
Oh, okay. Okay. So how much are they responsible to their national government? So yeah, they have they can publicly make speeches in the GA or third committee or whatever. But yeah, most of the work is background and advocacy and how you work with the other people. But how much are you entitled to the UN or the youth delegates or your national government? So I know for example, I'm based in Canada, and Canada has only sent 1 in the 60th GA, and that's it ever since. And Canada's not very gung-ho anymore on any of the issues that UN's pushing, and yeah, they're actually cutting down on most things, and they're withdrawing from most UN international agreements now. So if Canadian youth were to do something, it would go totally wrong. A few years ago, UNICEF was doing this on the children, children under the age of 18 to be represented at the G8 summit. Then when it came to the Canadian round, the Prime Minister said, no, we don't want any of that, so he cut it off. Then ever since, there's no children representation at the G8 summit. much more. So yeah, Canada in the sense I know it's being paid, but Canada in the sense is very horrible. So I'm wondering if Canadian youth were to push for something and get a delegation position, would the youth be able to do anything in their free will? So are these people responsible to UN or
Yeah,
to youth?
okay. You want
or
to respond to this, or?
Yeah, Canada
Yes.
actually had a delegate program. They ran until maybe a year ago. They didn't only have renewable sign, but before that, this regularly signed on the Commission on Sustainable Development and Climate Change, UNFCCC. Yeah, they had like one delegate, and it was part of delegation working, I think, almost on April 15th, and the rest. So,
But not for the other, only for the climate change,
because I don't know.
Is it for CSD?
No, it
Or
was for the
COP?
UNFCCC and CSD. I'm not sure if it's still on, but
I mean, they haven't sent any to your commissions.
But then when they did, and for other countries, who are they responsible to?
well, basically, I mean, they're part of the location, so it depends on the agreement. Sometimes they go as part of the civil society, which means that they are just more there as not declaration, but yeah. But basically, just to be there as a part of the delegation, they don't have any power of influencing, while others are actually working together with on equal footing with others. I mean, you also have different governments sending the civil society as a part of their delegation.
Like Brazil.
Also Brazil, Finland,
But they have no power on that.
yeah, they just have a badge, and that's it. Which is also, I mean, that's also quite important because you can have to provide with security, you can get more information than usual, and
And you can do the corridors work.
What is
But
this?
I think it really depends on the member state and what role
Try
they've
to speak
specified.
loud because it's hard to hear.
It really depends on the member state and what role they've specified for the youth delegate. So, for example, Germany, the German Youth Delegates Committee, when they give their statement, the main delegate gives their statement and then says the German youth delegates will now speak in their own capacity. So basically they're saying, we're letting them say what they want, but of course they've worked in cooperation to kind of, so they're all more or less on the same page, but they're kind of giving them a role to go, you take the lead on this. The other youth delegates are allowed to negotiate fully in negotiations on resolutions. It really depends on the member state. I think the longer a member state's been involved in a program, the more comfortable they are giving the youth delegate a little bit more capacity to kind of act as part of the delegation. So I think newer member states taking it up are usually a little bit, okay, let's kind of gradually walk into the water.
Yeah.
And it's also something to see in the youth delegate guide, I think, that you can read more about different, how you, unfortunately we only have 5 minutes left to end this meeting, and of course we're going to follow up on it, but just we started in half an hour later, so we're going to finish. Who really wants to make a statement? I see.
It's just whistle to
First, see who wants. So 1, 2, 3, here, 4, and 5.
1
minute each.
Yeah.
But it's not so much a statement as a follow-up question to what you said about the whole process. You're representatives of the youth of your country. So now you say by going through schools and listening to thousands of people, this is how you get your information, what the youth of your country wants. But now when you go back home, like what's the process that you inform them, not only about what you have done, but how these young people can actually be activated or be active citizens to help your cause, but also, to keep the movement going, and like what kind of advice and what kind of tools do you use to inform them back? Like, do you go back to the schools, or do you have like a medium of communication?
We take other questions. And then
Yeah, no, sure. That was just.
So yeah.
I guess this is maybe sort of just more of a suggestion, but I think if you, like investors usually invest in people and ideas, and I think you guys already have the demographic of people, which is youth, which is fantastic. So just in terms of mentorship, like ideas-focused mentoring is one of the key values that an organization I feel like yours can take from it, is that you can, as youth leaders, be sitting in and getting exposure to all of this, but you can be developing ideas what don't I like about this? What would I like to see that could come out of this instead of just strictly procedurally? But you also have influence with those heads of state to maybe change what's happening now, but also I think just bear in mind that keeping those ideas like flowing and seeing what, because you're really creating the future, you know, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about these councils. So I think maybe just in terms of mentoring, that'd be fantastic, and just sort of really say, you know, keep your agendas light and your careers wide open.
Yeah. I have a question for you, especially because you mentioned you're going to schools and such. Do you have any kind of support for doing that? Because it seems like a full-time job. And like you also need to have a, I guess, sort of university, and you should, I mean, clearly have some free time and leisure.
What exactly is that?
That's something like that's
No, but also my perspective on the youth delegates program. So I've been involved in the Commission for Sustainable Development the whole process for 5 years. So I had a pleasure to see many youth delegates from different countries come and go, and I was like, nice day.
Burned out.
And I think it's really important to have that program, and also maybe to keep mind open for also non-so-democratic introduction of the program, because that could also be quite helpful, just because you need initial spark that will start.
My question goes a bit on the same line. If you combine this with studies and work, and it's more a claim that I'm sure you think about, but if you need so much time, meaning you cannot study and work and do this, and if you need resources because the budget is not enough, how do we guarantee inclusiveness? How do we guarantee that the young people that don't have the support of their parents or the time that they need to work if they want to study, how do we guarantee that those voices are included and that they can participate in this?
Furthermore?
Yeah, I mean, I have a statement about our trainings. If you want to
Good now.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on what we were saying about briefing the trainings. So the trainings that Pax Romana provides, we started doing this for a few years, following up on something that our predecessors did years ago, was to help do these advocacy trainings for Global South youth delegates mainly, because as you guys know, Global North youth delegates, especially the European ones, get a ton of training from the European Youth Forum. So our training was meant to be a way for Global South youth delegates to have some capacity. The other thing that it provides is a networking space for members or people who represent NGOs and for youth delegates. So part of what we were saying before is that, you know, we need to remind sometimes people that they need to work together, not so much work within their missions. So it has to be a collaboration, and then go back to your mission and see what you can promote from what you got from the other youth. Our advocacy training is October 8th on a Tuesday night, the second day of the commission, third committee, I'm sorry. It's in the evening at UNFPA. If you have any questions, you're interested in attending, if you represent a youth NGO or a regular NGO, or if you're going to be a youth delegate in some time in the future and you want to come, you are welcome to. And please talk to me after. I'll give you the email address to register.
Fantastic. Thank you. Amazing. Short.
Oh, there'll be dinner too. Paid for by the European Youth Forum.
We'll go there. Okay, let us finish. The question about informing and activating, because we go from conference to conference, we always combine like some experience from the UN to give them an insight, like how does it work and what can you achieve there, what did we achieve, and to go to the next conference, for example, to do the input part, but also you always have some way to make them feel that they are part of it. So we always bring it from the huge international complicated UN level to like, okay, but what does it mean for you? What can you now do? And we not always have like a concrete program. For example, the example I gave about the climate advice, the advice on climate change to the minister, that was something that we could say to the people, like, okay, get involved, say what you want, also on Facebook, for example, and we will get it in that advice to the minister. So then it's really much more in reality than just something they heard. So they can really do something and contribute. And then we also always try to find the participation issue. How can they do something themselves in their own areas, in their own schools, in their own. So we also have programs, school programs on how to make their own schools sustainable, for example. So there's a lot of options there. Yeah. Okay. This position is they asked 20 hours from you a week to commit. Well, okay, honestly, that's of course not gonna happen, but you can. So if you want to and you only have that, then you can try to do it in 20 hours and work very, very effective. But of course, sometimes you're away for 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 weeks. So that is pretty complicated sometimes with university or school or whatever. So it's tough and it's not nice, that part. And but yeah, it's really, if you want to do this, it pays back a lot. Like in 2 years or in 1 year, you've learned so much. It's a very rich experience. So it's an offer you make, or yeah, you have to choose for it. But I agree on the fact, because we also don't get money, or we get like now 100 euros a month. So that has a little bit, but of course it makes no real difference. But it is, I agree, Sophia, and that's also, we have a good functioning program, but it's not perfect because I still think it's not inclusive enough. Because we try to, of course you have time to study and to work on the side, but you're going to do so much for the position, for the youth representative, because you can do so much, so it is not inclusive enough. Because, yeah, we both get, of course, a little bit of support from parents, or we get, when you study, you get in the Netherlands some money, so it's easier, and that's something we should also all think of, how maybe new financial, what is here? Well, it's just the truth, and yeah, okay, we need to finish now. So that's also for us something we try to work on, and how do we make it open for everyone, and how, and we tried it with a little bit of financial support from the Youth Council. As you can see, we also don't have the money so much as the Youth Council to support the youth representatives, and we really want to have the program working, but yeah, so that's an honest but not so nice answer to your question, I think. But let me say to end, I hope that this meeting was good to inform you at least a bit about how it can work.